Nick Calandra is easily one of the most insufferable individuals I've ever seen on the internet. There's a growing movement in the gaming industry that doesn't want you to think for yourself. And I hope you guys are seeing it more and more every day. The people that push this the most are the journalists. If you criticize the wrong people, if you question the wrong studio, suddenly you're a harasser, a grifter, or a problem. If you're called a grifter, congrats. That means you live rent free in their heads. That's a badge of honor. It's not about protecting developers anymore, guys. These guys are more worried about controlling who's allowed to speak. And that's exactly what's happening right now with people like Belair, Sweet Baby Inc., and Nick Calandra once again. Let's go ahead and talk about this tweet that he's posted because little Nicky is at it again. And if you're familiar with the channel, I definitely don't like this dude. A while back, they literally had a meltdown that they needed to get off the internet and take a break for their mental health, that they couldn't handle the culture wars and the toxicity of it, that they were going to step away from the culture wars. Nope. This dude is hiding on LinkedIn and he's been exposed. So Master of the TDS, shouts at them, posted on X. Nick Calandra posted on LinkedIn urging game studios to take action against YouTubers and social media creators he claims are lying and hurting sales. Belair liked the post, showing she most likely agrees with the sentiment. So if you guys don't know, Belair is the head honcho of Sweet Baby Inc. If you don't know who Sweet Baby Inc. is, feel free to look up Sweet Baby Inc. on YouTube. You'll find all of the juice, including on this channel. But Nick Calandra posted, I really wonder when these game studios are going to take action against these YouTubers and social media grifters, making up lies about people working at their studios, their business dealings, sales data, etc. It's clearly affecting businesses. Review bombing, harassment of developers, stalking campaigns. When do you take a stand? It's not contained to social media anymore. We all know it. So this guy is clearly calling for censorship of criticism. He's asking for what's essentially a harassment campaign. Now, if you're familiar with the channel in the past, I've had my own run ins with Nick Calandra where he would post stuff on social media about me, and some of it was actually part of a smear campaign, which Smash JT actually covered it not too long ago. I'll give you guys a quick refresher here in a second. Needless to say, this guy Calandra, he's not a good person. He's actually what I would say somebody that tries to run a lot of gay ops. Allegedly, I wouldn't doubt he's in discords and group chats trying to plan out how to silence critics. But let's do a little bit of a recap. So here's an article from Smash JT's website. Nick Calandra and crew began smear campaigning as 8-Bit Eric. And you could see, essentially at the time, he was calling to get me fired. And he's part of Second Wind right now. I think he's one of the uh, founders of Second Wind. You can see, here's the tweet that he said. As a reminder, Eric runs wrestling camp classes for kids, including young women, and this is how he talks about women publicly online. He should be nowhere near children in any capacity. Since 8-Bit Eric has made multiple videos about me, defaming and smearing me, let's have a look at what an absolute creep this guy is and his thoughts about women, shall we, using all of his own words. I'm sure the parents of the children you get to physically interact with at a wrestling camp would have something to say to you about how you talk about women online. I don't have to twist anything to make you look like creepy asshole that you are. So he hit the nail on the head. These statements, particularly aggressive in tone, suggest a deeper narrative beyond mere disagreement or criticism. They touch on a sensitive, explosive intersection, personal integrity, personal behavior, and personal perception. So this goes in hand with this whole, these guys will never stop until you go after their funding sources. So Nick Calandra's problem with me was that I made videos criticizing him. So he took me going to the bar and saying that there was young white girls at the bar or little white girls at the bar and tried to say that I was being suggestive towards minors somehow, according to his tweets. I don't know what teaching children at a wrestling school has anything to do with me being in a bar talking about how women looked hot. But he also took a clip that I had out of context, essentially talking about Alyssa Mercante's underboob, which they think it's some kind of gotcha. But this dude is weird and he's bad faith And even though he claims that he was getting off the internet, he still hasn't. He still is trying to silence criticism and critics encouraging harassment campaigns. If we continue, you can see as soon as you fight them back, they go back to crying about cancel culture. They just want to be able to smear you daily with zero pushback. And the second they get a taste of their own medicine, they thrash around like a fish out of water. So this guy. He hides behind blocks, by the way. I did tweet out that my place of employment was contacted because of Nick Calandra encouraging it. This was a tweet from July 2nd, 2024, that has a screenshot of an email that was actually emailed to my business partners. I said, also, someone emailed my business partner to cancel me. Wonder who John Doe is. Nice try, Magitech Dad. I have every right to discuss the dating pool of adult women at a bar. Nothing to do with kids. Using put his hands on their children to paint me as a pedo as pathetic losers. And you can see, hi there, reaching out as a concerned citizen about one of your trainers going by the name of Spectre Eric Perez. In this video, he makes some very uncomfortable comments about younger women at bars. There are many such examples of this behavior on his YouTube channel. Someone working with children, these comments are highly concerning. So they were trying to paint a undertones of pedophilia, even though it's clearly at a bar. And then you can see, I said, Nick Calandra thinks this is a gotcha, trying to twist me, saying little white girls as me being a pedo. I literally say I was at a bar, means 21 and up. Also, I stand by my thoughts on today's dating pool of women like Alyssa that hate men. So nothing out of the ordinary. But yeah, you could see he tried to smear me not too long ago. Well, now he's back on his BS, trying to say that developers need to go and stop this harassment. This is the type of person that we're dealing with, by the way. And it's real sad that Yasi gets involved and associates with this guy, regardless of that. Because he's definitely scum. He's definitely scum. And a lot of his behavior online is what caused, I think, Froster Rivera was the guy's name, to quit. And he called Nick Calandra out, actually, in a really long, detailed video, essentially saying that Nick Calandra and the people that are operating Second Wind have no idea how to operate anything, and that's why they're losing money. So go and look that up as well. He called them out. Anyways, let's continue. So yeah, I want to talk about why the fight over harassment and criticism in gaming actually affects you, me, the gamers, because this isn't just about a few YouTubers that are being targeted. It's about whether the gaming industry believes that gamers are even allowed to have opinions at all. And more, it looks like the people that write and are journalists and even developers don't believe that we should have a voice. And trust me, if this is what we're seeing publicly, what's being said about us behind the scenes should have everybody paying attention and worried about it. And for the last few years, we've seen the same playbook, guys. It's a rinse, repeat situation. A developer or some activist connected studio releases a game that's loaded with messaging that feels more like propaganda than storytelling. We call it out, and instead of engaging with that criticism, these people double down on it. They cry harassment, they mass report creators, and they call for studios to take action against YouTubers. Us right-wing reactionary YouTubers are the problem for whatever reason. And Nick Calandra, like I mentioned, he's one of those guys, one of those voices that's been calling for studios to punish grifters, his words, not mine, for supposedly making up lies about developers. And he's one of the ones that cries the most about it. But here's the thing is, most of the creators, what we're talking about is public information. It's developer posts, it's sales data, it's sales numbers, it's studio partnerships. That's all fair game for criticism. That's not harassment. That's actually journalism, which is what you're supposed to be doing. And that's free speech. But Nick Calandra once again shows that he doesn't care about it. And what's really going on is simple, guys. These people, this Access Media, they used to have all the power, but now they're not the insiders anymore. The insiders that they once were, that were connected, protected, praised for representation over results, because we know it's all about checking off DEI checklist now instead of actually being qualified. Sweet Baby Inc. literally was handed out AAA contracts because of who they knew, not what they created. And they hate that we call that out. They really do. And the moment that the internet starts asking questions, the moment that gamers start saying, wait a minute, this isn't fun. This game is preachy, their narrative began to collapse and they freaked the fuck out and they panic and melt down like what Calandra is doing. And instead of improving, figuring out a way to make things better, they go on full attack like this, like Calandra's doing, blaming YouTubers for harassment, claiming that gamers are toxic. But the truth is, people don't want to spend their hard earned money, which is now like $70 and above for most games, to be lectured. Okay. We want escapism. We want games that respect our time and our intelligence. We don't want boxes checked off of a diversity spreadsheet. But don't tell them that, because then that makes you a bigot. That makes you a racist, a homophobe. The best thing about this post is that he's getting torched in the replies by everybody. And you can see he also has Master of the TDS blocked. Giga Bear, who is like his sworn enemy, by the way. He's obsessed with Giga Bear. Says second win has a quarterly report due imminently. Last one was posted July 15th. No wonder dude's crashing out. And I guess this is him actively crashing out as we speak, saying the usual suspects are still stalking my social media profiles a year later. Found a LinkedIn post they didn't like because I called on studios to protect their employees better from the constant targeting they get on social media. So now they're trying to target me again. Pathetic. This guy is a whiny little baby. He also was on Side Scrolls at one point and essentially got put in his place by Craig and company. And then he goes and claims that he's going to get off socials and take a break and not get involved. And then he has this stuff. We'll never be afraid of these people, unintelligent, unloved failures of people who waste their lives away screeching at people on the internet for attention and suckering them out of money. Anyways, they got to do their usual videos about me now, and I will continue to laugh at them. Yeah, we're doing our usual video about you, bucko. You can see, of course, he posted that on LinkedIn, the most boot-leaking platform. Fake Wizard says, this is concerning. If Nick is talking like this publicly where we could see it, what are the conversations like behind closed doors? Oh, my innocent, sweet prince. If you only knew. You must be new to Nick Calandra. We're supposed to just be quiet and agree to whatever they want. Had to be done. I think we have a nice little AI video of Nick Calandra falling down, blaming grifters. Shouts to Black Metal Gamer. Tebow with the Nick is a fag tweet. Basically, they're gearing up for false takedowns in order to intimidate people. Because that'll totally work, guys. Take action. What are they exactly are they taking action against? And what is taking action? So YouTubers weren't allowed to have negative commentary. It has to be positive praise. Or it has to be removed. Yeah. That's the game that these guys play. You can see it appears he's attempting to coordinate a targeted harassment effort, given his prior actions encouraging others to undermine individuals, businesses, sites, and channels. File this as potential evidence for a future case. And yeah, speaking of, you guys remember he took down Smash JT's website and was laughing about it? Petridge Farms remembers. So this guy doesn't go the above the belt route. Okay, don't let him fool you. He has no right to moral grandstand or virtue signal anybody at all. It's actually a lot of hypocrisy if you want to be like, if you really want to look at it, because even Kim Belair, who's the head honcho of Sweet Baby Inc., recently claimed that no one has ever reached out to ask Sweet Baby Inc. questions directly. My foot. That's a lie. Multiple creators that I've seen on the internet have offered open, respectful interviews. I mean, I would even welcome one myself if it came down to it, but they don't want a discussion. They want control. And if you fail to control that narrative, they freak the fuck out. They have no power. Because whoever controls the narrative, they can keep their money flowing. They like to call us grifters or whatever. They're the actual grifters by keeping that narrative going, the woke narrative. Even if the work keeps failing publicly, like look at all the games that are failing. Look at all the studios that closed because of DEI. They need it to keep going so that they have their grift. And, even if we're wrong, right? Us reactionaries are wrong. You would think that they would want to actually clear the air, right? No. Instead, they choose to accuse people of harassment, accuse them of being hateful, dishonest. They do calls to action like Nick Calandra is doing. hiding behind blocks and private profiles. And their silence towards criticism says everything, honestly. If your games are doing great, prove it. Show the numbers, show the fans. But when the only answer is, "Oh, shut up and stop criticizing me," the studio's got to take action. That's when you know they're losing. When they're panicking like Calandra is, that's when you know they're losing. And this is bigger than Sweet Baby Inc., guys. This literally is about whether we could even voice our opinion at all. They don't think you should have an opinion. They don't think I should have an opinion. We can't question creative direction. We can't question pricing, storytelling without being labeled bigots or grifters. Like, think about that. That's like the mentality of a spoiled brat, in my opinion. And they want us to be silenced. They want to censor us so that the only voices they hear are the ones that agree with what they have to do or preach about or, I guess, make propaganda about. You have to agree with their narrative. So, no, Nick Calandra, I'm going to keep speaking up, and I think everybody else should. I think you absolutely should if you're watching this and you agree. Because if they silence us, for whatever reason, they'll silence developers who disagree. They'll silence filmmakers that disagree. They'll silence news outlets that disagree. And we've already moved past that. We're finally in a way, in a place in time where free speech is starting to get back on its feet. And we have assholes like Nick Calandra that want to stop that. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you believe Nick Calandra's in the right? Calling to action that studios should start punishing content creators for criticism? Or do you think that he should actually be held accountable and that studios should continue to be held accountable for fucking up? Let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like. Hate watchers, Nick Calandra, if you didn't, feel free to leave a dislike. And subscribe, guys. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I'd like if you guys join the AB Nation. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.